Thanks again for tuning in to the Other Side Cycling Podcast. Welcome to episode 4. Number 4. Today we're joined by my friend Adele Renault. We have a great chat about Adele's experience coming to LA and what it's like to have adopted cycling later in life after living in like a pretty cycling dominated realm in Belgium.
We had a really good chat. I really enjoyed it. Just getting to learn more about her art and how she thinks and how she creates, how she's found riding in LA, learning about her dog. What else did we talk about? There was a lot of really good stuff in there.
Stay tuned. It's going to be a great chat.
Hello, welcome back to the Other Side Cycling Podcast, hosted by me, Lucy Mannall, Patrick, James Roldan, and today we have a wonderful guest joining us too. Hello, Lucy. Wait, let's be.
Hello, Lucy.
Hello, Lucy.
Hello,
Lucy
Adele.
in the sky over there.
Oh, we're joined by a special guest today. We have a very talented artist and also a very avid cyclist and endurance athlete, Adele Renault. Welcome. Hello, hello.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be
Thanks
here.
for joining us. Yeah. We just wanted to start off trying to just basically getting to know you a little bit because obviously we've met and we've ridden together and we've spent some time off of bikes. But Lucy hasn't met you, so I think we're going to have to go through a lot of those common courtesies and learning questions first. But we met on a bike ride here on the east side of LA, right? In Griffith Park. Ponies.
Ponies. Famous ponies.
How did you end up there?
I mean, I think everybody rides a road bike in LA has been to ponies at least once or a few times.
Yeah.
I got there because of Brooklyn, who's a fellow artist.
Brooklyn
friend.
Somaharo.
Yeah. And he was riding there. So that's how I heard of it.
Cool.
First.
When we ride together, obviously we don't get too long of a chance to chat. It's kind of difficult.
Like a quick hello, hi.
Yeah, like a little catch up. How you been?
Yeah.
So it's really nice to actually be able to sit here and talk to you about your art because my partner, Sigourney, she talks with you about your art all the time, and I just get glimpses into it.
Yeah, and then I guess that's how I realized that you were riding ponies too, because she was like, oh, I think maybe I saw her on a Wednesday. I was like, oh yeah, I just rode this morning. And it's like, oh, was that ponies? I said, yeah. Oh yeah, my partner was there too, so.
Yeah.
Then I think the next time I was looking for you, but I didn't even know what you looked like. So.
Just like, hello, are you Patrick? Hello, are you Patrick?
Pretty much. It's hard to keep track of everyone that you meet there because that ride is so
many
big.
people, but that's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that, whoever you meet there is going to be a nice person because somebody who gets up at 6:30 in the morning to ride a bike.
Yeah.
It kind of filters out. I don't know,
a
to me.
large part of society.
Yeah, a lot of people get filtered out, so what you get left is quite a handful of really nice, fun,
happy,
exciting people, positive.
Happy people out there. It's cool. You still haven't done ponies, have you, Lucy?
Sat here like, that sounds good.
Okay, what? You're a cyclist, you haven't been to ponies, and you live in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I know. Am I really
crazy.
a cyclist? Well, my problem is I live on the other side of LA.
There's a lot of people riding from Santa Monica. I mean, I'm 10 miles away from the start, and I just ride it.
Yeah, I think I'm running out of ideas, honestly, and the weather's getting better, the days are getting longer.
No more excuses.
So
running out of excuses.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen soon. So many people are gonna call me out on this, and I can't say no.
You mentioned 10 miles is what it takes for you to get across town?
Yeah.
Where are you residing?
I'm residing just south of the 10, between La Brea and Fairfax.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Is that Mid-City?
Yeah, Mid-City, West Adams.
Okay.
Like on Adams.
Yeah. So that's a whole different side of LA that we haven't talked about.
Well,
yet
it's the middle of it, as you said it. I'm pretty central because I can
go to either
anywhere.
side.
Yeah. I'm close to Bologna Creek Bike Path.
Nice.
Which is kind of where I started cycling in LA. I mean, I was a runner before I was. I mean, I grew up commuting to work and school on bikes, but that would have been like bikes that were too big and rusty and making all kinds of rattling sounds. So up to my 30s, that was my cycling experience. Yeah. But I would still be cycling every day, but not as we know it now.
Where was home? Where did you grow up?
Belgium.
Okay.
Countryside of Belgium.
Very big cycling.
You must know Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Well, I'm right on the course somewhere.
Amazing.
Wow.
I never grew up with the sport. Like, that's very recent. I bought my first road bike only last year.
Wow.
So
very new to that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I mean, in my, like, when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, a friend in school, her older brother would be like a pro cyclist. We would see him like on the home trainer all day, and I'd be like, oh, is that fucking boring? But it was fascinating too, seeing all the kits. But yeah, I mean,
you grew up surrounded by the sport?
Yeah.
Did you follow the cycling?
No, not at all. I
Wow.
mean, I was into tractors and horse riding and like work horses, and
That's so
and then
cool.
later I was into graffiti and like take me to the city. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it was something that you saw every Sunday. There'd be like a race on, and to us it was annoying because we lived up on a hill on a dead end. So if there was a race, they would be stuck for hours.
Wow.
Because they'd close the road. So,
That is.
or like you're going to school and there's like a team training, and so you're stuck behind a peloton of 6, and you get to school late or something.
And now are you like, I get it, or you?
Now I totally get it. I was like, why didn't I start earlier? This is the most beautiful roads. Like I literally now I have a little place now close to my parents, and it's like on a downhill curb, quite close to the road, but in a tiny village, beautiful road. And I hear like derailleurs going past all day. And I look out, sometimes it'll be like a Jumbo Visma team training or like...
Wout's over there doing a little...
So now that I follow it, it's like, wow, like what was I doing? Well, I get it.
Yeah.
And now I'm happy to have cars behind me having to wait.
Yeah, I think that's very similar to my upbringing in a way, because from when I was 10 or 11 up until 18, I lived in Yorkshire in the north of England. And when I was living there, I was like, oh, okay, I get it, it's pretty, but this is not how I want to be spending my time, going for walks. The Yorkshire Dales, absolutely amazingly beautiful, and they're super close to where I lived. And I would often be dragged on walks, sometimes kicking and screaming with my parents.
Yeah.
But then I left, got into cycling, and I was living in London, obviously dealing with London traffic, and I would ride my bike 10, 15 miles to get into the countryside. But then I would go back home to see my parents in Yorkshire. I'd be like, oh, why the hell did I not do this whilst I lived there? Lizzie Dagnan's from 10 minutes away from, 10 minutes down the road from where my parents lived. And yes, a little bit of regret of not being into cycling when I lived there. But maybe if I was into cycling at that point, I would not be into cycling now because it's different. So
well, absolutely. I mean, like if you're forced into it when you're young, I mean, at a young age, you might like it, but it still feels like work. And then the minute you're 20, you're like, fuck this, I've done enough cycling now.
Yeah.
And I mean, same for me. Like now I really appreciate the countryside, and I love going back to where I'm from. But when like from 12 to 18, I'm like, get me out of there.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do but hills and cows.
You wanted that like visual stimulus though of like all the art and all the street art,
because I had seen, I guess like most people I grew up with, they still all live there and build a house right next to their parents' house, and they're happy there. But like my parents were musicians, so they always traveled the world. They took us everywhere, you know, like to be playing concert would be sleeping in backstage or whatever. Like travel. I mean, I've been to like most continents by the age 10. Like I knew there was other stuff out there, so I was like, why am I stuck here? And the nearest train station is like 10 miles away. There's no bus. Yeah, bike. But it's up and downhill, and you have like a old mountain bike that's too big for you. It's not quite the same. Like I wish somebody had given me a carbon road bike at the time, my size, because then I would have been able to get far.
Right.
Probably.
With going around and seeing different cities, I imagine you tried to travel around using different modes of transportation in those cities as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you find yourself on the bike in
Always,
those different cities? Yeah.
Yeah, so at 16 I moved to the UK, so I went to school on the bike, I went to work on the bike. But
where in the UK?
Brighton.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And then I moved to Amsterdam. I lived in Amsterdam for 10 years, so obviously that's the bike city #1. But it's like you have an old grandma bike that makes all kinds of rattling sounds. It's single speed. It's a back pedal brake, you know, so it's...
What we call a Dutchie.
Yeah, a Dutchie, yeah. Cruiser. Which is, I mean, it's great to get around, but it's not like... It won't open you to,
it's not
the sport
you're going to train on.
No, but then, I mean, you leave it outside, you know, you get stolen every week, you buy another one. Like, it's a functional thing.
It's cool to me that you've gone here to another cycling destination city, a global destination.
Yeah, I guess I just do the cycling destinations.
But not just that. I mean, the crazy street art that also you experience here in LA. Like, you can't go a block without seeing some wild tag. And you being a renowned artist in your own right, I think doing a little bit of research, you've done some pretty large scale murals, right? Is that Is that what drew you to LA? That kind of...
Yeah. I mean, I visited friends from like maybe early 2010 and stuff, but I would just come for like 5 days or a week and be dependent on other people to get around. So I didn't get a feel of the city as it was. It was pre-Uber too, so you're just like staying with friends. And I thought that's pretty boring, like compared to San Francisco or New York, like, because you're like, well, just stay in the house all day and then go out once because it takes so long to get anywhere.
Right.
But then, yeah, then I came from mural. Like, I was like paid to come here to paint murals. So then I'd have like, I'd rent a truck and I'd be getting around and feel more like I was living here and getting to know the place like on my own. And that's when I really fell in love with it.
Where did you first land here?
I mean, the first few times that I was coming, visiting friends would be like around UCLA campus.
Okay.
Probably why it was kind of boring.
Westwood catching
then
a stray?
I did quite a big mural in Hollywood. I did one in Long Beach. I did one in the Valley, on Silver Lake. So
Are any of them still up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most of them are still up. No, the Valley one was Facebook. I think they got rid of those offices. That was an indoor big one.
Okay.
All the other ones, I think, are still up.
We should do a
Whereabouts?
ride.
Yeah,
when,
we
like,
should absolutely go
I
check
don't
it
know.
out.
them all.
Maybe Long Beach is. I don't know. I definitely got some tags on it and stuff, but it might still be there. Might
That's
not.
what's supposed to happen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
To street art
Yeah,
installations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they all kind of the same subject matter?
They were all around the time I was painting a lot of pigeons. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Pigeons, because pigeons live in the street. So
Yeah.
I was never into like street art as a thing, but I was like, well, if I'm gonna make art on the street, I wanna. Everybody seems to want like pretty girls or birds on the walls. Why? Well,
LA always has the angel wings.
At least I'll do like some scruffy looking pigeons. So that's what I
love
did.
Pigeons are pretty incredible animals. Have you seen those videos of pigeons catching the slipstream on highways? Like,
No, I didn't see that.
oh my God, I have to find that. They're insanely fast. They can hit
they're
like
fast.
200 kilometers per hour.
Yeah,
like
they're,
flying.
they're
They're
so
very
fast.
fast.
I mean, like pigeon racing, they'll drive them like 500 miles or something and they'll come back the same day
Yeah.
or next day. They learn to drink like flying, so they don't even stop. Like they're
Yeah.
actual racers, like they're athletes.
Yeah. Pigeons
Like
that
the-
are trained to do it, for sure.
Yeah, and obviously I've learned a lot about pigeons over the years, not by choice, but because I started painting them. Then suddenly I was like the girl that painted pigeons. So then once I got approached by some Chinese people organizing a pigeon fair where they're selling racing pigeons, and it's like race horses. They go for a lot of money, and funnily enough, they all come from Belgium. Don't ask me why. It's like the sport started in Belgium and Holland, so all the breeders are there. But then they'll go to China, like a big expo where they sell and trade pigeons.
That's insane.
Wow.
So they asked me to come and do like a little show, and I use my visual to like on the.
Do you have a favorite pigeon that you've ever used as a reference?
Well, back then I used a lot of because obviously then I did some racing pigeons. I met some like pigeon breeders in Holland and in Belgium. Yeah, and then Mike Tyson's really into pigeons too. So for a while I was painting Mike Tyson's pigeons.
Did you get pigeon commissions from Mike Tyson? Is that he's one of?
Not commissioned, but we were definitely like we FaceTime. We were supposed to meet a bunch of times because I was at his pigeon coop in New Jersey, and it still has like his coop from when he was a teenager that they moved around. It was in the Catskills and then top of like a dive bar in Jersey City.
I'm learning
still
so
visit.
much about pigeons and Mike Tyson, and wow, I did not expect this to happen. This is amazing.
Anyway, so that's one part of my life, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you feel like you got pigeonholed?
Yeah, exactly. I got pigeonholed, and I love traveling, and I was like, oh my God, like when I was a teenager, I was like, if I could just get paid to travel, imagine that, and I was doing that. But then I realized, like, I'm just like a pigeon voyageur, like just traveling, until I got not sick of it, but like now I really enjoy not having to hop on a plane. In the last couple of years, I tried to like slow down on the murals and just do more studio work.
Awesome.
And be in one place. And also, like, I have many failed athlete careers, but yeah, like if you're cycling, I mean, I was running before, so that was easier. You just travel to anywhere, you just put your shoes on and go. Much rather go on a 5-hour bike ride and be at home than being in an airport and go paint a mural somewhere.
You have a home studio out here in LA, yeah?
Not at home, no. It's my studio's on Western.
Oh, okay.
So I just commute up and down Adams, really.
Oh, nice.
It's like Western and Adams.
From what I've seen, it's kind of like an old church
Yes,
converted into an art studio?
Yeah, it's a former Korean church.
Whoa, very cool. And it's just you and your partner working in that space?
Yeah.
Alex, right?
Yeah.
Cool. How much of that space do you think is divided? Is it pretty fair? 'Cause
Well,
you do
it's
pretty
like a
large
massive, it's like church hall, so it's like quite big, and I use one side, he use the other side, but I'm there way more often than he is, so I kind of take over the whole thing right now. But I'm about to have a show, so I'm going to empty out most paintings, and he can reclaim his space.
Yeah. That's rad. Is the work finished for the show?
No.
Always.
When
Never
is-
finished.
It's finished when time's up. That's when it's finished.
True.
Like
True.
At the deadline.
But you could set all kinds of pre-deadlines for yourself to know that you don't have time, but it never works like that. Like you always.
Right.
It's me and
Well, the closer you get, the more, what if I could add this, or like you did one painting that leads you to another one that you didn't think you would make.
I imagine you've mentioned that you don't want to do the pigeon work anymore. You've kind of evolved, of course, as a person and as an artist. There have been evolutions into your art. What's going to be at the show coming up?
I would say it's like portraits of LA, but portraits of plants. But the plants to me are like a metaphor for its people, because it's a mixture of native and non-native species growing here, being symbols of here or not, and they're all in some different types of struggles. But yeah, I mean, as a European coming from like a cold, wet country, obviously coming to the Southwest in California, you're just amazed by the vegetation here. I don't know. I mean, maybe not everyone's like that, but I'm very much.
No, I think I was like that. This might seem very simple to a lot of people, but the thing that amazed me was plants that in England I would have in my apartment as houseplants.
Yeah, it's like
but these
tiny.
plants are outside. I'm like, whoa, how does this grow outside? I'm like, well, obviously the climate.
Yeah.
But stuff like spider plants and snake plants, the fact that they can, this is a very simple thought, but the fact that they can be outside because this is their environment, I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, and not just as a small plant, but like some are like tree size too, like what we know as little house plants. Everything grows in California. I know a lot of it has been imported over centuries, and we don't know what's native or what's not anymore. But just walking around any neighborhood, and even if in like say the poor neighborhoods, ghetto or something, like in Europe, you'd be like you wouldn't even want to go for a walk because there wouldn't be anything to look at other than sad grey buildings. But here, every front yard has some interesting vegetation and some birds, and so.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is like the bougainvillea, like the purpley pink.
It's beautiful.
Flower that just crops up everywhere. It's almost, I don't think technically it's an invasive species, but it's just everywhere you see. Because of the size of LA, there's always some blooms in all parts of the city. Mm-hmm. I have a photographer friend, Nat Maya, and she just had a small show in New York, and it was focused on the bougainvillea, mostly in California, I think, some from Palm Springs, some from LA. She's a film photographer, so the pop of that on film and just the vibrance of
the pop
of
as
that
in color,
and I think because of them, I'm quite in tune to those flowers.
Now
as well.
You notice it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's an artist here called Patrick Martinez who paints a lot of bougainvillea. I guess that's what art is about, you take something out of context and then hopefully people will start looking differently after. I mean, that's
different
the
perspective
aim, really, I guess.
I'm going to be looking at pigeons now.
Well, wait until you see the plants. Maybe you'll just look at cactuses growing by the side of the freeway. Or
Have you learned a lot about the species that are around LA that you're painting?
I have, but I'm not like a botanist. Like I'm just like a visual like sponge, I would say. I just take in a lot of things and then filter it out and then it comes back out. Yeah, I mean, I recently had some people come to the studio and I coined the term like documentary painting because obviously photorealism is kind of a way to describe, photorealistic painting, but a lot of people will Photoshop stuff or, takes just images from Google searches and make something out of their own imagination. And then, but that's not photoreal, then it's something else.
Yeah, it's artificial.
Yeah, which is great too. But I mean, each their own. And my thing is, I just want to paint the things that I saw exactly how they were, because it already looks like it was unreal, and people will be like, "This looks like a photograph, but I've never seen this. Like this can't really be a photograph." So
How do you get your source imagery? Is it from walking around, like you were
I mean,
mentioning, riding?
I'm always walking, riding. I have a dog, so I walk the dog every day, and then riding and driving around. And yeah, you see so much in a day. It's quite hard to then select what you're going to paint because there's so much to see.
True.
But yeah, it tends to be things I've seen over and over again. Like there's this thing I painted that's on the bike path on the west side, the Bologna Creek bike path, which I've seen a million times, and I've been wanting to do something with it for a long time. And then, some people came by the studio last week, and the guy said, "I know exactly where that is. I grew up in Culver City, and I've always looked at that thing." And I was like, "Yes,
wow.
like that's goals, and somebody recognized because it's quite zoomed in, like it." I mean, you'll see it if you come to the show.
Show date May 3rd?
May 3rd, yeah, Saturday.
At Good Mother Gallery.
Good Mother Gallery on West Adams.
Okay.
Not downtown, because they had another location downtown.
Ah, okay. So the West Adams location. Yeah. We'll be sure to plug that in the outro for this, for sure. What time is that?
Probably 5 to 8 p.m.
Beautiful.
Usually.
That's a very LA time to do a...
Yeah.
Saturdays,
yeah, New York does Thursdays, London does Thursdays.
As far as the art culture, the art scene goes, how have you adapted to LA's? Does it feel different from other places where you've had your practice?
Yeah, every place is different. I mean, obviously I was in Amsterdam as a big art scene too, but it's such a small city, it's like a little village. And it's much more institutionalized, like the art, they have a big culture of government-funded art projects or art spaces, but there's not much of a market. There's not that many galleries that sell much art, and the Dutch are very like Calvinists, They'll spend money on cheese and beer because that's vital, but art, they love art and they have the best museums in the world. I mean, the Stedelijks and the Rijksmuseum are probably two of the best museums.
Yeah.
That I know, but that's all ancient art or modern art that's already established.
But for this contemporary sort.
Yeah, for what I'm doing, there's not much of a market. Well, the art scene here is so amazing just because it's so vast. I mean, yes and no, it still feels small because every little niche scene feels like, if you ride a bike, ponies, or if you ride a fixed gear bike like I do, we all have a clacka little bike wallet, we all from the same scene. But there is hundreds of galleries. I go to art openings every Saturday.
Wow.
Probably try to squeeze at least 2 or 3 or 4 every Saturday. And I still, after 7 years, discover galleries that I've never been to. And some closed, some open, but it feels like everyone from New York, San Francisco, or the whole country is moving here to either make art or open a gallery.
Feels that way, yeah.
That's exciting.
I think that's something that I really appreciate about LA, and I think a lot of people don't quite understand if they've never been or never lived here, is people like, oh, LA, it's just full of fake people or movie stars or people chasing their dreams. And I would agree that people are here to chase their dreams. People are everywhere to chase their dreams. However, the vastness of it, and people are just open. You walk down the street, you go to a grocery store, you go pick up coffee, and you can meet anyone, and people are so open to it. It's oh, cool, you're an artist, amazing. Well, this is what I do. Or, and it's very open, and people can just do that. Whereas I feel like in certain other places, like you mentioned, Amsterdam, for example, I've never lived there, I've visited a number of times, but I can definitely see or feel that it's kind of restricted and you need to know certain people.
It's very, Amsterdam is very cliquey. If you don't know your scene, then you're just a tourist, and but I guess it's a protection because it's such a tourist destination. It's so small. If you don't kind of protect your circle, you feel like you're just gonna get infiltrated by tourists or expats left and right.
It's almost the opposite of LA in a way.
But I did like Amsterdam. I have no complaints. But where I'm from in Liège, in Belgium, everyone kind of content with where they are, and to me, there's nothing wrong with chasing a dream, and I quite like that people here have ambition. Generally speaking, people moving here. I mean, first of all, it's so expensive to live here, so if you're coming here, you better have some goals. Yeah, I get it. Some days you don't want to oh, what do you do? Wow, this is what I do. Some days you just want to have a chat and not be on this mission of getting to where you need to be. But generally speaking, it's quite. I mean, to me, it's refreshing to be around people that all have passions and a lot of ambition, because I've always had that, and that's what I was missing in Belgium times.
The way I also describe it to people is people are like, oh yeah, people in New York, they're chasing their dreams and it's all about hustle, hustle, hustle. People in LA are also hustling, but because of the weather, basically.
Yeah, slower pace.
Yes. Or because of the access to outdoor spaces, there are so many, even just small parks, but also the amazing mountains and the coast. You know, you're a couple hours away from the desert or a mountain range or all of those things. People also take time to look after themselves and get outside in nature, go ride their bike, go work out, go do Pilates class, or just a walk around the block. That is so much easier than in New York.
Yeah. There's a reason why California is so sought after. I mean, it has pretty much everything to offer. And I mean, I guess we're all not from here, so we actually go out and enjoy the mountains. But I know a lot of people who are born here and grew up here, and they don't go out to see the ocean or the mountains. But I get it, because like when I was in Belgium, I wasn't enjoying the beautiful cycling roads and the hikes, because I was like, well, this is just my backyard. It's boring. Get me out of here.
You take those things for granted.
Yeah, you take it for granted.
Or
so
like, I can go anytime. I'll go next week.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you end up never doing it.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely try here. Since I discovered cycling here, it's definitely opened a whole lot of new exploring and discovering.
New places to find plants. New people
that
to
too,
travel with us.
Yeah.
You rode your bike here today. Where did you ride from home or did you ride from the studio?
From home.
Okay.
And I will ride straight to the studio after this.
Nice.
I imagine you passed the studio on the way here, sort of.
Sort of, not exactly past it, but Western's a bit too trafficky.
Yeah. Cyclovia was just this past weekend.
I know, on Western. I did.
Yeah.
I was maybe going to go. I was in the studio, but did you go?
I did not go. Cyclovia is cool. They've shut it down from Hollywood down Vine.
Yeah.
Across Santa Monica.
Yeah, and then down Western and then Wilshire.
Wow.
Wilshire.
But I've done pretty much all the cyclovias. Because, so when I was a runner when I first moved here, so I would run on the bike path, and sometimes I would run all the way to the ocean, but that's like 20 miles.
It's very impressive, yeah.
Do that just like a couple of weeks before the marathon, and that's it. But I was like, oh, if I had a bike, I could just go to the ocean from my house. Like, how amazing would that be? So then I got an old, like, Bianchi. That was my first road bike, but, it was one that still had the gear shifting on the top tube.
Yeah.
Still in the rusty, rattly bike range.
Yeah.
But at least a forward position, so...
Instead of upright, sitting
so then
back.
I was riding to the ocean and back. So that's what I was riding, but it was just me by myself on the bike path, and at that point I still had no idea that you can have social rides here and how great the city was for social riding. And then I met my hubby, who's from London, and he always was commuting on a fixed gear in London. So then when you move out here, I was like, well, bring your bike and we can ride to the ocean together. And one day we're just driving and we see all these bikes at night with music and lights, I think on La Brea. And I was like, what is this? Like, I want to be doing this. Imagine, like, instead of going out on the Friday night, you just go out on your bike, but it's like going to the club. It's every last Friday of the month. They start from Western and Wilshire, and it's Critical Mass.
Oh, yeah.
And they happen all over the world, yeah. But this one is getting quite big. The LA one is definitely a big one. So then we found where it was, and we went the next Friday, and we saw all these, literally like every kind of bikes you could imagine. Some electric bikes, any like kind of nice fixed gear bike to fast road bikes to very slow granny bikes, just, you name it, people with their dogs in a trolley, like, but it's not about speed. It's more like, it's a really social ride.
Just riding a bike.
And people, drink a beer as you're riding, or you just... But there's so many people that you take over the whole street.
Casual.
And obviously we start seeing people with, like, really nice fixed gear bikes.
People trying to show the bling.
Yeah, but, my hubby is into, like, his nice Cinelli, and, it's got, like, a Cinelli mash from that. Yeah. Those early 2010, 12, where it was really hip.
Yeah. He's got a nice fixed gear.
Yeah, he's got a few now, and so do I. Well, he got me the bike that I commute on is like a simple fixed gear State made in California. And he bought that for my birthday 2 years ago. And that was my first new bike. That was my size.
Nice.
And I was like, and he said, well, you could just turn it into single speed, but maybe you could try it fixed gear. And I tried it and I loved it. So I stayed fixed gear.
So you commuted fixed to here today?
Well, and then we did critical mass. So then we started talking to these people who had nice bikes. And they said, oh, well, we just started riding on Sundays. just the little groups. We meet at crypto and we go, and so that's how we started. And we're like 6 or 8 people, and now that's also 100 people on Sunday.
Wow.
And that's 306
so awesome.
Cycling. Shout out to the 306 family.
Wow. Nice.
So yeah, so that was my first like group riding experience, and it's so fun.
So you mentioned you have like a little collection of bikes now at this point.
Well, because everybody had such a nice bike, I was like, okay, well, as soon as I sell a few paintings, then I'm upgrading to a nicer bike too. So I bought a Look Madison, which is a track bike, and then slowly add bits, and then I got a disc
Madison?
wheel. No, a carbon.
Oh wow.
And then I got wheels, I think from Australia, Stiffy, disc wheel and a 4-spoke in front.
Dang.
So that's my nice Sunday bike ride. You know, some people have nice cars for Sunday riding.
Yeah.
Nice fixed gear bike.
Everyone deserves a nice fixed gear. We
Yeah.
were talking about this, I think, on the first episode. How you have a fixed gear in your arsenal, but I do not, and I need to have one.
Yeah, because you were messenger, right? A bike
That's
messenger.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, for commuting, I find it so simple and easy, and I love the fact that it doesn't, it's so simple. It doesn't
Very
make any
low
sense.
maintenance.
Low maintenance.
You can take it anywhere. It's just hard to go down or up the hills that we have here, but
Yeah, it depends where
really-
you live. I guess I live where it's pretty flat, so it's fine.
true. I mean, we do get some people who show up to ponies.
I know
on
there's a guy who
fixed
shows
gear.
every week on the fixed gear.
Yeah.
It's going up that hill on 48, 16.
Pretty
or
brutal.
something. Very brutal.
Shout
I mean,
out
the
to
uphill,
Sol.
okay, it's brutal, but it's the downhill that'd be brutal. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that downhill.
Sounds
Griffith
painful.
Park. Not enjoyable. I like speed, and you couldn't just roll it out.
Do you take Pinky on the fixed gear, or do you use single
Sometimes.
speed? Yeah.
No, on the fixed gear, so.
Oh wow.
With the canine bag that you recommended.
Yeah, it's such a good bag.
I mean, I tried all kinds of different backpacks, or like wrap him up with scarves around me. I've tried everything, but that's the one backpack that he likes. Little paws on my shoulders.
What type of dog is he?
He's a half Chihuahua, half Terrier.
So sweet. He is a sweetheart.
Yeah, when are we gonna do a puppy ride?
I don't know.
Pony puppies.
I'm thinking about actually going out later today with Bacon on the bike, probably for a sunset ride. You're welcome
Nice.
to join if you like.
I need to get back to the studio.
I know.
It's either this or a sunset ride.
I was mentioning that because I had a fixed gear for a while in New York, and for all intents and purposes, it's not exactly the safest thing when you're going quickly. You make calculated decisions.
Yeah.
To,
I mean, it's made for going
Yeah,
fast
it's made for
in
going
traffic,
fast.
really.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a reason messengers use it, right?
Exactly. But when I got the backpack to take the dog around, I had to make the conscious decision to switch, either switch my kind of riding that I do on the bike to just go a little slower,
Yeah.
or go single speed so that I
Yeah.
wouldn't feel bad running brakes,
Yeah.
and be able to take my feet off and put a
Yeah.
foot down.
Yeah.
So when I ride, that's why I ask. When I
Yeah.
ride with Bacon, I definitely use a geared
Yeah.
bike or
And bacon is quite heavy as well. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
slightly
almost
bigger than-
25 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot. No, and if I do ride with the dog, it's only to the ocean and back on the bike path. It is still quite heavy on the shoulder, even with a slightly smaller dog. It's not that pleasant.
Does Pinky choose a side when you're riding?
We'll swap.
Yeah. Bacon likes to put his head on my helmet, so I think
On
Sweet.
top?
Yeah,
But he's
like-
big enough to do that.
exactly. He'll scooch up over my shoulders and then kind of lean his neck over.
They love a
Yeah.
rest on there.
Exactly.
Does he have goggles?
I should get him some goggles because he likes the air, but I also wonder if that'll just make him more uncomfortable.
I can see him vibing some of those Oakleys where they went like over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his style.
I climbed Ferndale.
What about a helmet, like a time trial helmet?
I wonder, like, I'm so worried that I will, take a spill. I really don't want to do that with the dog. Can't imagine the conversation I would have to have, being like, oh, I crashed with the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Rough, dude. Super rough.
You can get 3D printed helmets. I think there's a missed opportunity here for 3D printed helmets for dogs. And research into dog brain injuries.
Oh, my
Although
goodness.
I think the bottom line here is people should be careful if they're riding with their dogs, which
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you
I
guys
mean,
are.
it's the same if you're riding with babies, dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
like in Amsterdam, everybody rides with their kids on the bike, but there's
Yeah.
not that many cars. There's more bikes than cars, so.
I mean, I've seen some even crazier stuff, like people riding on their friends' top tubes, like
Yeah.
in their baskets, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be like in kids' baskets all the time.
Yeah.
Like in Amsterdam, you forgot your bike or you catch a ride with someone else. And just fit in all those kiddies' baskets.
I once went to the 6-day track cycling in London at the Olympic Velodrome.
Yeah. Nice.
Might have had a beer or two, and me and my friends, we needed to get from the velodrome to the train station. We're like, cool, let's just use the Boris bikes or
Yeah, the
city
Boris
bikes.
bike, yeah.
But for some reason, we didn't each get a bike. We were like, let's couple up. So I paired up with this guy who's like 6 foot something, and he was like, you go in the front. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work very well.
Yeah, it's gonna work fine, just fine.
But we went over a speed bump. And then we got speed wobble, and it did not end well.
Ouch. Yeah, no.
But that's a lesson I learned, and I bounced back.
Catapulted.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. We kind of lost the rest of the friends. Turned up at the train station, and we were like, "What the hell happened?" And I was like, "Look, don't ask questions."
While you're alive, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's also the fun part of cycling.
Yeah.
The risks you take to have an enjoyable experience with your friends.
Yeah, well, you don't take risks, you don't get anything, really. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good takeaway.
I love speed. Speed is fun, but yeah, it's risky.
Exactly, especially with no brakes.
You know, you could just fall down the stairs in your house and
I've done that.
break your neck. So, like, you
I
might
haven't
as
done
well
that,
have fun while you
Exactly.
while you're living.
Definitely.
Do you have a place that you would love to go ride a bike that you haven't been, or anywhere that you'd maybe have? You mentioned when you were really into running, it was good because when you were traveling, you could just bring shoes and shorts and whatever and get out and run. But with a bike, that's obviously a little bit different. But is there a place you want to take your bike that you haven't?
I mean, I haven't taken my bikes so far any other places than California and Belgium, but I think that's a good start. Yeah, maybe the Alps one day, or sure. I've traveled so much in my life, like I'm not out seeking extra travel that I would organize and pay for myself,
Fair.
I mean, yeah, there's so much
it's like-
riding in LA.
So, yeah. And I mean, even California, I explore, go Sequoia National Forest or like a bit further out.
Sierras.
Yeah. Places I could just drive to rather than put the bike on the plane for now.
That's
True.
stressful.
Do you have any favorite places to ride here in California?
Yeah. I mean, I love Mount Wilson.
Oh, wow.
I hope it's it's reopened, right?
It's open.
Yeah.
Mount Wilson's open.
As soon as I'm done painting with this show, I'm going to get on the bike and start riding again a bit of the longer routes. But for now, it's just been ponies when I can.
Wilson's a big ride. Sometimes I forget that it's a pretty.
I mean,
massive
yeah, the
ride.
traffic is not the best. But I mean, anywhere up in the National Forest up there,
Yeah.
all of those, I still need to do a lot of exploring. Like I said, I only got a road bike last year, so.
And it's already taken you to the top of Wilson.
Yeah, I haven't ridden up. Yeah, I'm just being exposed. I did a photo shoot on GMR, and
That's
sadly,
beautiful.
I wasn't
yeah.
riding. I was just helping produce it. I was like, wow, I really
Wow.
need to ride up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There was also
Let's
another.
go.
There was another ride that Blvd and Morton put together that was over that side, and I was so excited. I had prepped for it. Got up early, drove across the other side of LA, parked up, rode to the meeting spot, and my gear stopped working.
Oh no.
And
You know what's crazy? I was there that day.
really,
That was like February of I think 2023.
yeah, something
Yeah.
around that.
We
And
didn't meet.
Well,
Insane.
I was stressed and flapping because I'd got up out of bed on a Saturday morning early and drove across the
Oh.
whole of LA, and I didn't understand why my bike didn't work. And then
See?
also,
Analog.
Yeah, that's fair.
that's electric gears for you.
Yeah.
Was that the Di2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we also fried my partner's battery as well, trying to see if we could swap batteries and see if that worked, and it just
Oh,
completely
no.
yeah. So
Wow. Well,
Yeah, I
what ended
mean-
up being wrong with it?
I think it
know.
was
What if she knew? She would have fixed it.
Well, your bike is working now, yeah?
yeah. That would be pretty tragic if I hadn't ridden my bike since then.
Oh my god.
But I think the cable had got stuck or chewed up inside the frame.
Okay.
There was something wrong. It's now fixed. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen again. But these were all lessons.
Doesn't
Yeah.
happen with a fixed gear.
I mean, yeah, no, but the i2, it rides so smooth. The one bike I have in Belgium is electric shifting. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But it's it's not really that necessary. The one I ride here is analog, and I'm quite happy because when we go on those long rides, like I see some people having issues.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know. Like, we forget that all that technology has been made for people who have a car riding behind them with like 6 more bikes and a couple tech guys, you know, like, so yeah, like it doesn't make your riding experience less enjoyable if you're riding analog, to be honest. It's
Totally.
really,
What is your bike setup here for road riding?
I have a Massey that I bought secondhand on OfferUp, and I don't know much about it. It's got some Chinese carbon wheels, but honestly, I haven't done anything to it, and I haven't taken it to the shop once, and it's
Still working fine.
Still working,
Touch wood.
touch wood, yeah.
Nice.
You know, I haven't had one flat either. It's like
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah,
not.
please
I am assuming it's tubeless, and I'm not even sure.
You might want to check on that just to make sure that.
Well, I have
tubeless
like
is
a little
good.
emergency puncture kit, like that should work. But
Right. I've had some wild experiences with tubeless. If you know anything about me, I was absolutely tube only for a long time.
yeah, well, me too, was coming from the fixed gear, but now I'm like on my fixed gear I had so many flats, and it's like in this road bike I've done so many more miles on the road bikes, and I haven't had no flats. So now I'm telling people, yeah, maybe tubeless is the way to go.
I think LA might be one of the only places where I agree with tubeless for road pressure and road wheels.
Because there's less kind of shit on the road. Because
there's more.
Oh,
Because there's so much more.
like glass and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like it takes care of so many little punctures that you
Yeah,
wouldn't have
I
seen.
think so. I mean, I ride over so much glass every day.
On the bike path, is it clean like on Bologna?
No, I mean, and there's a lot of potholes to like little. So if you
Yeah.
go fat, like my hubby's had like 3 flats on the same spot.
Then going
it's
across Adams as well, I imagine it's.
Adam's now pretty clean. It's got a bike path now.
Oh, nice.
which is
New bike path?
Yeah, pretty new. Like in the last 2-3 years, I'd say. Yeah, because I've been on Adams ever since I moved here. It's definitely a recent addition. Because it was 2-lane traffic, now it's 1 lane and a bike path.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
But it's only like from Washington to Crenshaw.
Okay.
And then it just stops.
And just stops. Yeah, that's LA. Like bike path, then
You
that's it.
There's the Expo line that follows the Expo
Yeah.
train line, and I started riding that pretty soon after I moved to LA, and I was like, wow, this is cool, but even now it takes me so long to figure it out, unless I ride it a couple times a month, because you get to one bit, and then you're like, I know the bike path doesn't stop here, but where does it continue? And you
Oh, it
kinda
just
have
switches
to-
over to the other side.
But you have to kind of search it out. It's not super intuitive.
The neighborhood knowledge that you need to use these bike paths just kind of shows how like afterthought they are. It's nice to have, but it is.
Yeah,
kinda wild.
it's not so. I mean, nobody's out there in a city making pathways to get across the city. It's just like, oh, let's make this neighborhood feel homey and nice, where you could go and get a coffee on your bike. But I mean, at least they're doing something. It's
better than
definitely
no bike
evolving.
path.
Yeah.
True.
And look at New York. I mean, I went to New York maybe 15 years ago. There was 0 bike paths, and now like the last few years, I'm like, what? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you could just ride now everywhere.
Everything is a little green lane.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You were just there,
Yep.
right?
Did not ride any bikes at the...
Not even the New York's version of the Boris bikes. It's
No.
pretty cool.
There was definitely days where we would have done it, but the weather wasn't great. But it was really nice, honestly, just being in accessible, walkable public transport city and just being able to get about. We stayed in 2 different places, and we were visiting friends and family all over the city. So it was like, cool, how do we get there? It wasn't just like, well, I guess we order an Uber and see how much that's going to cost. It was more, okay, cool, we can take this train line and walk this much, or this train line, or this much. And we've promised ourselves we're going to go back a lot sooner this time, because it had been a year and a half. We're going to come back in the summer. I've never really been to New York in the summer, so...
That's the best. Can be too hot.
Too humid, too sticky.
May, June is the best, or September.
Yeah, I personally like New York in the fall when it's like foliage season.
Oh yeah, it's
because then,
beautiful.
especially if you're riding bikes, you can go from being in the city where everything is still kind of warm, go north, and then everything just turns orange and red. And
Maples.
Yeah, exactly. All the maples are changing. All the elms are changing color. It's beautiful.
That's something that we just don't get in LA at all.
Definitely not here.
Well, people say there's no seasons in LA, but there is. You just have
is.
to look a bit more closely. Like I take the dogs on the hike every other day, and it definitely changes. Now we have all these yellow flowers that are just coming out after the rain, and there's jacaranda season is about to start, you know, all those purple trees. It's definitely like springtime is still springtime. Like you definitely see more bloom, and after the rain, I mean, it's so green now, and even where everything's burned from the fires, it's like sprouting green.
Yeah.
It's much more subtle. It's not in your face, so you have to look for it, but it's definitely seasons.
There is also fall or autumn, but it happens later on in the year. It kind of happens around the end of the year rather than
or like January,
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
where have all these leaves been?
Yeah, like December could still feel like very summery sometimes, which is great.
Yeah.
Are you guys starting to see the spring May gray and June gloom coming into your neighborhoods?
Yeah, it still blows my mind how different Venice, Santa Monica, the west side can be. And then you come over, even if you just drive 5 blocks or walk or ride 5 blocks, and you're like, this is a whole different situation. I can prepare for my ride by looking out my window. But then by the time I get to the end of San Vicente or into the mountains, it's just so very different.
Yeah.
You kind of... A little hack that my partner does, she will look up the webcams on like a news website. So maybe it's
up in the mountains to see.
Yeah, or even just like KTLA, Kidstyle, ABC, or something like that. There's a webcam on Santa Monica Pier, and there's one downtown, and there's also one at LAX.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are multiple other webcams positioned. Actually, I know there are because of the fires.
There are, yeah.
But if we are out in, I don't know, West Hollywood or Silver Lake on the east side, and we're like, cool, should we go back home, or should we go grab a snack somewhere, or should we go do something else? We'll look and see the weather at home, and it's like, oh no, it's really
Santa
foggy.
Monica always could be foggy. I mean, when I leave the house to go to ponies, I'm often in the fog, like pretty soaked just from the fog, and then as soon as I pass like Beverly, Melrose, then suddenly sunny morning.
It's so nice to have sun all day, virtually every day of the year. It's kind of nice. One of the beautiful things about being here.
Definitely a big reason to be here. Riding in the cold rain, it's not fun.
No, we do still get that.
I know, you can. But I was in Belgium back November, December.
Yeah.
And trying to ride there because I didn't want to lose my fitness altogether. At some point, like, you couldn't ride more than 45 minutes, like your toes would freeze. And I had those big, like, overshoes, like neoprene, like this thick, and
everything.
Merino socks, double socks, everything. Feet just freeze because it's so humid. It's like 95% humidity, and it's like just about freezing point, but it's raining. It's not snow.
It's just gonna turn into icicles, like
you
as
can't.
you
I
go.
mean, that's why people have home trainers. I mean, I don't understand having a home trainer in California, to be honest. I know that people do, but I understand. But I'm saying, like, I would not.
Between thoughts on your paintings, if you know, if you need to take a little break, you have
if
this
I really,
trainer set
I
up.
feel if I really had to train for something specific, but I have to just give up the idea that I'm ever going to turn into an athlete because.
You are an athlete. Let's be real. How many marathons have you done?
Only 3 full ones.
3
more than me.
3 small marathons.
3 full ones.
Full ones.
A
Those
lot
like
of
small
half. A lot
marathons.
of halves.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. I haven't counted. And 3 triathlons. That's it.
LA marathon.
It's not that much. I did LA. I did Amsterdam. I did Paris.
What was the most recent?
Most recent, 2019. That's a while back.
Okay.
But 2019, I did LA, and then 3 weeks later, I did Paris, which wasn't...
Back to back.
Yeah, 3 weeks in between was not enough.
That's crazy.
And after that, I just, like, my ankles, my feet, everything, it was just not working. So that's also when I bought a bike. Because my gym trainer was like, well, why don't you do triathlons instead? Because maybe running is just too much, or... It wasn't too much, it's just because I did too much. No, I just couldn't run. Like, it just... Every time I try and run more than 5K, it would hurt. Something would hurt. So then I was like, I started swimming, which I never really did. I mean, I know how to swim, like, breaststroke. But
You kind of have to relearn it, right?
Yeah.
It's
so
not just
I was
swim.
going to Culver City Pool, and then I saw this lady training 2 kids, and she seemed like really strict but good. And so I just asked her, like, oh, do you do private lessons? She's like, yeah, here's my number. And then I just took like 3-4 lessons, and it really helped. I still can't really do freestyle for very long.
Yeah.
Still have to switch. Like, I'm the only one in a triathlon, like, switching back to... But it's fine. I mean, it's allowed, you know, and still go fast enough that I catch to everyone on the bike anyway. So
Yeah.
most people are not cyclists.
That is a significant advantage if you are actually pretty good at the bike in a tri, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be good at running, I think, is the But by that point, I wasn't very good at running. So
It's also running after swam, however long you have to swim, depending on the event, and then it's also running after swimming and riding.
So, and that is the trick. If you're good at running, then you're probably good. But
yeah,
I mean, I never did it for a time like I was when I was running. I was just like, I just finished this in a decent time, like lots of people behind me and in front of me.
Yeah. Personal achievements.
Yeah, and it was fun. I did the Malibu one, the Long Beach one, but I realized going to GMR with friends, it's way more fun than doing a tri event. We have to wait a lot. It takes a lot of logistic organizing, and if the course is really nice, the first time I did Malibu was really nice because it was on the PCH and you swim in the ocean. But then the second Malibu, somehow they closed the road and we had to do laps of the parking lot at Zuma Beach, and I was like, not fun.
You're like, this is not why I'm doing
No,
this.
and it was raining.
Sounds like the last LA marathon you did was probably the last stadium to see.
Oh, what was it? It's not Stadium to see anymore?
No, it finishes in
Santa Monica. No,
it finishes in Century City now.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah,
I
I finished in Santa Monica. Yeah.
That's cool. That is very cool to go from Dodger Stadium all the way there.
Yeah, I was gonna go cheer at least this year, and I didn't even do that.
I think we've covered quite a bit. Covered some goals. Covered your artwork. This is gonna go out a little bit before your show.
Yeah.
So best of luck with finishing
Thank
up
you.
and getting yourself ready for it. I can't wait to see it. Where it's gonna be, what date, what time.
It's gonna be at Good Mother Gallery on West Adams, not the downtown location. From 5 to 8 on May 3rd. It's a Saturday.
This is a solo show.
Yes.
So sick. Very
My
cool.
debut solo in LA. I did a lot of shows, group shows, duo shows, but this is the first time it's all.
That's
just me.
amazing. That's gonna be so rad.
Hopefully,
Well,
I did my best. That's all I can say. Like.
I definitely am gonna appreciate seeing it. I'm sure I can count on seeing you there.
We have a few rapid fire questions to finish out the podcast. You don't need to think too much. They should be rapid-ish, but yeah, it's just a bit of fun. Patrick, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah. Do you prefer sunrise or sunset rides?
Sunrise.
If there was a historical figure that you wanted to go for a bike ride with, who would it be?
I don't know, Eddie Merckx maybe.
That's cool. Perfect ride length.
80 miles.
Wow. Oh, thinking in miles instead of kilometers. That's
Well, no, I
interesting.
was thinking kilometers, but the audience thinks in miles, so I would.
I'm a kilometer person. Sounds better.
100K,
Yeah.
100K.
but not 160K.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah.
There you go. Best advice for someone just getting into cycling.
Don't spend too much money at the beginning.
3 words to explain what riding a bike is to you.
Exploring, being outdoors, and endurance.
I think that wraps it up for today.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure. I think we learned
It
a
was
lot
fun.
about you and a lot of the things that you're thinking about with your artwork. So
We didn't even talk about Belgian cycling scene. You You didn't watch the Ronde van Vlaanderen?
Do you
didn't.
want to talk about that? We
No.
absolutely can.
We can add it in.
Absolutely.
No,
Goodness.
we don't.
No
But,
spoilers. No spoilers.
But oh yeah, one goal I would like to ride the Liège-Bastogne-Liège. They always do. Most of those big classic Belgian race, they'll have like an amateur race either the weekend before or the day before on the same course. Next year,
I
I
guess
want.
the roads are closed, so they might as well, right?
And they're not closed. You just ride.
Oh.
I mean, they're like have signage. It's too long to close the roads. So
Yeah.
they'll close. You always have the car riding in front and then the last car.
A rolling closure
Yeah.
sort of thing.
It's a
right?
rolling closure.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Don't
because
they-
I ride these roads on the car, but
Yeah.
they'll have like the signage. Like,
Don't
like,
they
turn left or
kind of
right.
go in the wrong direction on some of the roads? Like
Well,
in
most
these
roads, the
events?
country roads, they don't even have lines or anything.
Oh, I see.
So that's most roads. Which I never noticed because I drove these roads since I was a kid and then since I learned driving. But my
Yeah.
hubby now, when we go back, and he's from England, so he has to drive on the other side. And there's no, like, at nighttime, there's no yellow line in the middle, like
Just,
no
like,
lines
just
on the side.
gravitates to the other side
And
of
you're
the
just
road.
like, how did you even know where you're going?
Yeah, I didn't have a driving license in the UK because a couple of different reasons, but I just didn't need one. Never
yeah, in
got
London,
around
you
to
don't.
it.
Yeah.
And then I moved here and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to sort that out. I think I would really struggle driving in the UK. Like, I've never driven. I took lessons when I was 17. But I think if I went back and drove there now, I think I would really struggle.
on the small roads.
Yeah.
Well, it's so different in here. Where it's so spacious
So
and you
much
got
space.
lines.
And somehow we're still terrible drivers.
But that's why, because you don't have to learn to ride properly.
It's not technical here, I would say. Like, I actually think it was easier for me to learn to drive again.
It's so
here.
easy to drive here. That's why people can't drive, because they don't have to try.
It's thoughtless.
Hot take.
Very.
I mean, I drove
agree.
a big American car in Amsterdam. I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
try and do that with 15 bikes left and right.
Yeah.
You always have to look like, where are the bikes coming from?
Very true. Any closing thoughts for you? Any sporting questions that you want to ask?
Just if we did want to touch on the Ronde van Vlaanderen, I watched the last 30K of the men's, and the women's race was after the men's, and I had to head out to meet a friend, but I saw what happened. It was a great race.
I didn't even watch the women's race.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
I watched the highlights of the men's.
Lotte Kopecky took the win in the women's, and she did this pose at the finish line where she like put up her muscles, and then she was interviewed after. They were like, "What's that about?" She's like, "I don't really know. I wish I didn't."
just felt strong.
Yeah, I just felt strong. Like, there's not really a reason. I don't know why I did it, because now I have to answer these questions. It was great. And you know what? If you win a race like that in that style and with her talent, she can do pretty much whatever she likes.
Whatever she wants.
Was
yeah.
it Belgian
I mean,
media
she
that
was-
asked the question, or was it
I had no idea.
I think it was maybe Eurosport or something like that.
Okay.
If you won a race across the finish line, what's your winning pose?
It's always like hands in the air, some sort of hands in the air.
Patrick.
Dang. Finger guns. Finger guns.
Yeah.
For sure.
I usually like every time I finish a race would be like, because I want people to like,
Yeah, cheer.
Cheer for you.
For
yeah,
sure.
it's like, come on guys, like
Will
we're
we see
trying
this
our best
gesture
here.
at the show then?
Like, cheer.
Ovation, please.
I think if you won the Ronde, people would be cheering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you win, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When I usually cross the finish line, I'm not anywhere close to the first runner, so people are kind of slowed down and they're cheering. But it really works.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the marathon course, like even in the middle of the course, you do a bit of this.
Yeah.
People
love-
will
People
pick
will
it up
cheer
again. They just kind of forget.
I love crowd participation. Like, take me
That's the
to a
best.
sporting event, and I just love cheering.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
love cheering too.
Amazing.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us.
Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. Please do share the Other Side Cycling podcast with your friends and family. We'd love to build this and reach as many people as possible. You can listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, watch on YouTube, and if you have any questions for us, then you can also slide into our DMs on Instagram or email us at othersidecycling@gmail.com.
Feel free to leave comments on the YouTube video or even on the Spotify. There's definitely a lot of things that are worthy of further chats about from this episode. So leave a comment where you can, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to get some food now because my tummy rumbles.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.